So hopefully you discovered yesterday that the area of a trapezoid can be found by taking 1/2 of the height times base 1 plus base 2. Now it actually can be written another way. We can say that area equals height times base 1 plus base 2 all divided by 2, because dividing by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/2. So whatever is easier for you to work with. If you don't want to have that half because you don't want to deal with fractions, that's fine. You can just divide it all by 2. But you've got a calculator to help you, so hopefully either way it shouldn't be too complicated. What you really need to remember is that this right angle is very important, because the right angle is going to point you to your height and your base. And those are the only 3 sides you need. You will not need these slanty sides because they do not meet at right angles. And so therefore they are not bases or heights. Now our trapezoids aren't always standing up like this. Sometimes they can look like this. But again, the key thing is finding this right angle to point to my bases and my height. The slanty sides, again, won't be used at all. And sometimes they will put numbers on there just to try to confuse you. In a third scenario, one of the sides of the trapezoid is the height. But again, when we look at that, you're going to look at, well, the right angle is pointing to that side. So that'll help me identify the fact that it is a height. And then the bases are the top and the bottom. So we're going to use that formula to find the area of trapezoids. So if I look at my first example here, I see my right angle, so there's my height, there's one base, there's my height again, and the other base. So area equals 1/2 times height times base 1 plus base 2. 1/2 times my height is 6 times my 2 bases, and it doesn't matter which order I add them, 5 and 9. 5 plus 9 is the same thing as 9 plus 5. 1/2 times 6 times, is that inside the parentheses, I have to do it first, 14. Half of 6 is 3. 3 times 14 is 42 feet squared. Okay, looking at letter B, we're going to follow the same procedure. Again, height is in between the 2 bases. 1/2 times height times base 1 plus base 2. 1/2 times my height is in between the 2 bases, 5. Base 1 and base 2 are 8.5 plus 11.5. Inside the parentheses first, 1/2 of 5 times 8.5 plus 11.5 is 20. I'm going to switch the order of this so I can use mental math, even though I do have a calculator. 1/2 of 20 is 10, and 10 times 5 is 50 meters squared. So I want you guys to go ahead, pause the video, work out questions 1 and 2 on your own, and then once you have them completed, hit the play button and check your answers. Alright, so if you've worked these out correctly, for number 1 you should get 30 millimeters squared. This one's turned on its side, so our height is actually 5. Remember, the easiest way to find the height is because it's the line that meets the 2 parallel bases at a right angle. There are only 2 parallel sides in a trapezoid, and the one that cuts in between the 2 is the height. So whether it's up and down or side to side, the height goes in between the 2 parallel sides. And then number 2, you should have gotten 30 inches squares. The height cuts in between the two parallel sides. Okay, the only difference in this one is instead of giving us our measurements, we're actually going to have to find them. So I see my two parallel sides are here and here. So those are my two bases. This one has a length of 1, this one has a length of 2. Then my height is going to be the straight line that connects in between them. So it looks like that is 6 units long. So I'll use those numbers now. And I found those just by counting the squares. Area equals 1/2 height, base 1 plus base 2. 1/2, my height was 6. My two bases are 2 and 1. So half of 6 times 3 is 9. And we don't know if these are meters or inches, so we put units when we don't know what the units are, and they're squared because it's area. So letter C. This is the next example. It's asking us to look at this picture and use the measurements here. So in Virginia, the county of Scott County is about similar to a trapezoid. So it says the population is about 23,200. How many people are there per square mile? So first thing I find out is how many square miles are there in Scott County. So square miles, square means area. So we're going to find our area. 1/2 times, my height is 20. My two bases are 15 and 38. So half of 20 times 53 gives me 530 square miles. So with 23,200 total people and 530 total square miles, the amount of people per square mile, I need to divide the population, 23,200, by 530. Guess what? We have calculators now. We don't have to do this by hand. Yay, no long division. So if I put that in my calculator, I get 43.7735, just going to keep going. We're talking about people, and it does say about. So people, I'm going to round off to a whole one, would be 44. About 44 people per square mile. So again, go ahead and work these two out. Pause the video while you do so, and then when you're done, hit play and check to see if you got the right answers. So for question 3, if you did it correctly, you should get 10.5 units squared. My two bases were 3 and 4. My height was 3. Number 4, they changed the population of Scott County by decreasing it by 550. So if I subtract 550, my new population was 22,650. When I divide that by my area, this time I get 42.73, continue, which rounds to about 43 people per square mile. But that's the one it asks. It asks how much does it change. So last time we got about 44 people per square mile. So it changes by 1 person per square mile. If you think you've caught on, you can go ahead and start on your homework. If you think you need more practice, please click on the link that follows to get more practice.